Welcome to the Friday version of Vlog Thursday because the internet was bad at a tech conference version. And what should we open with here? Let me mute my phone. I'm doing everything last minute. So last minute here. Also wait for people to come in, jump in, say hi. Let me know where you're from. It's always fun seeing all the people from all over the place. First, we got Brandon Weir in here. We got Cody from Mac Telecom Networks. Christian McDonald. Chris, email me, reach out to me. Let's chat because I have a couple questions about what can and can't be done. So I'm working on some new WireGuard videos. And if you don't know who Christian McDonald is, he is the developer right over at Netgate, making WireGuard amazing inside there. So, Chris, if you're on here, just you know how to contact me. So, because I want to do site to site video. By the way, if you look for WireGuard site to site right now, Chris McDonald has a great video on that topic. So yes, looking forward to connecting more. And I'm working on my whole 2020 edition of PFSense, or 2022, new edition of WireGuard and new edition of PFSense. I'm a little tired today. So let's see. Move this over. Wow. North Dakota, UK, Idaho, Springfield, Colorado, Tennessee, Austria, Netherlands. Hey, Travis. Yeah, it is 2022. Good evening from the UK. More Granger, Indiana. I was in Chicago. That was I didn't get back till about 3 a.m. and I woke up at 6. So there is a curve at which Tom's caffeination will run out and delusion will set in or I'll fall asleep. One of those things. But it won't happen on the live stream. It will happen after the live stream. So, flooding right now. Brett Chittum in Southgate. Yes. Let's see if we can find a photo of Brett from me and Brett. Hey, that's a weird one. Why is that photo not in there? Oh, my Wi-Fi's off. I have the Wi-Fi on my phone. Well, now that's on. I had a picture of Brett in here somewhere. Anyways, maybe that'll upload. That'll let it sync. Brett's tired as well because me and Brett were in Chicago over the weekend, so we'll talk about that. So let's see. Yeah, good thing my bed is close to the new studio. It's not far at all. What hot sauce is in the thumbnail? That's a good one to start with. We'll start with the suggestions on the hot sauce first, right? We go to our account orders so we can find it, so I can drop a link to it here. Go to the orders here. This one here. Hold on. There we go. We actually purchased it. Well, I guess it's been a week or so. So we can sample it a little more. So let me go ahead and share that page. Share screen, Chrome tab. I'm going to get demonetized on this one because, Steve-O's Butthole Destroyer with garlic, scorpion, Jaluka, and Carolina Reaper peppers. That stuff's rough, man. I'm going to tell you, it is hot. It is really, really hot. So it is much hotter than I expected. That thumbnail is not me faking it. That's the face I made when I poured too much on a chip. Oh, let's see. Stream is breaking up. Hold on. I think I know why. Let me fix that. That should fix the stream. All right. So the stream should be fixed. When my phone started uploading all the content, it caused the stream to break up probably. All right. Do you have any experience with Atto Extend? Never heard of it. So I have no experience with it. I don't even know what it is. Yes, when Tom says something is hot, it is hot. Is gasoline expensive? Yes, current gas prices in the US are definitely high, higher than normal. So I need better service. Yeah, I don't know why my service isn't working quite as well as I'd like it to. I'm really not sure why at all. It was working fine. So let me look to see. Do I have packet loss? I thought maybe my phone, which shouldn't affect it. My phone doesn't upload fast. Weird. It's not me. It's YouTube because I have no packet loss or anything like that. So no idea. I see it's telling me that there are some latency issues, but my latency issues, my current latency, 1.9 milliseconds. So I don't know. I got nothing. I got nothing as to why there's latency. Oh, stream looks fine now. Cool. Let's see. South America, South Africa, Spain. Awesome. Lots of places. Where can you even is there something that I'm not even getting into gas prices. I don't know. Yeah, that's a whatever thing. Gas is higher than normal, I hear. I use electricity to drive places. So that's someone says $6 a gallon in there. So yeah, $6 a gallon, but that is 3.75 liters per gallon. In the UK should be dollar per liter. Okay. Thank you very much for the super sticker. Much appreciated. XEPHALZ feel. I am bad with words. How about that dream wall? Oh, I'll cover that in just a second. We pay you can look up the Michigan electric prices, but the peak rate is like 13 or 14 cents, but the off peak rate's like 6 or 7 cents. So I charge off peak, which means 300 miles on my car costs me like $5 or $6. So yeah, it's a lot cheaper to do um the electricity. Let's see. Oh, people still talking about it. Yeah. There's two. Gas prices going up make electricity prices because they make electricity. No, they don't make it with gas, really. We actually get most of our solar and nuclear are two big ones. I mean, we get coal, things like that, but that I'm not gonna get too far off topic because I do want to talk about, and let me pull it up so we can share it. Is the let me find it here. Is there a link to it yet? It's the UniFi Dream Wall. Let me pull up. I don't know if I want to pull up the video on it or it's in the beta store, right? So we'll have to pull up their store rather than. Yeah, we can talk about it. There's thoughts I have on it. So let me, where can, they changed it. I used to be able to click share this tab instead. And they actually, I don't know why that feature went away. I used to be able to in StreamYard just choose all my tabs and it was an extra share button that showed up on there, but somehow that broke. Anyways, so this is the new UniFi Dream Wall. But let me address something right away because these are the problems we're going to have with products like this. PoE. We have some SFP cages over here. So it's interesting, but here's the thing, and I might do a video where I dive deeper into this, but here's what Ubiquiti is. Ubiquiti is a disruptor. They are a change in market. They are forcing other companies to do something different. Their innovation is all around licensing, not product. They're not the only people that have a nice dashboard that does all kinds of cool things. They're the only people that have a dashboard that does cool things that doesn't have a cloud license attached to it. So that's, people say a lot of innovation there. I mean, integrating a product that does everything in one is generally more consumer facing because it limits you more. Now, but then again, if you can pack enough into it, it's an easy drop-in solution rather than piecemealing a solution together. But the problem comes back to Does the customer need some advanced features like VPN? Well, and down the box suddenly got less appealing, because what people are going to start asking me whenever one of these come out, everyone says, "Can you do a new video, Tom, on UniFi firewalls because they have a new model?" And I'm like, stop. It's always comes back to the same problem with Ubiquiti. When are you going to make software that enables WireGuard to work as it does in many other firewalls or OpenVPN? When Ubiquiti does a standard OpenVPN user installation, that would be interesting, and that would be a change. And by the way, that's a software change, not a hardware change, because we know there's functionality that people hack together, going off script, coloring outside the lines, and modifying the existing hardware to have feature support that isn't currently supported natively in there. So we know the hardware is capable of doing more than Ubiquiti does. Therefore, releasing new hardware never solves any of the fundamental questions people have about policy routing or the way it handles certain things, certain advanced networking features. Those problems are software bound, not really hardware limitations. It's just like the way for years before they ever added the ability to have multiple IPs on WAN, people were doing it by modifying the software because Ubiquiti didn't let you do it through the UI. So Ubiquiti's really big innovation in the market really comes down to the not always the new product, but the way they handle their software and the way they don't handle licensing. But you know, their roadmap is a little fuzzy. But this, once again, might be a good small business product for people. And we do see a lot of small businesses like this. The um, the whole, Ubiquiti, let's put it all in one box, makes it easy to do an installation for a small business. If you have a travel agency that has 5 people that do all of their booking online, because we have companies like that, or insurance agencies don't have on-prem servers anymore. Most of them, even the multi-dealer network ones that are like not like they're a brand of insurance, but they're a multi-brand reseller of insurance. Every application they have is in the cloud. So all they need is connectivity. So would that work for them? Yes. You have to weigh out what businesses like. Do they ever need a VPN to their own computer? No. Why would they? They can take their laptop out of their office and connect to the cloud application from home. By the way, a lot of insurance places have that ability to work from home because of it, because everything they do is cloud applications. There's no local file servers. They just do things all in the cloud. Matter of fact, we have a few of them that use G Suite because they use all the Google Docs services. So they never have to think about documents and saving them or anything like that. They just need internet connectivity. So these are devices that are more targeted at that audience. And I think they're not bad for that audience, because they're not trying to figure this out. And maybe they have a small 4-person office that you can get away with just a couple drives on here. But it's very limiting, because especially when it's only 2 drives, that immediately limits this. I hope you never want more cameras than that. You're going to get a doorbell and a couple cameras and a couple things. End of story. That's where it stops. It limits your expandability a lot. But you just come into the sales pitch knowing that, and they're like, look, we've been 4 people for the last 10 years. We plan to be 4 people for the next 10 years. Cool. You don't even have a growth plan. If you don't even have a growth plan and you're fine with where you're at and you're a small business, this might be a good fit for you, to have it all integrated into one. I think it's novel that they're doing it, but the other side too, to my knowledge, this still hasn't changed. Ubiquiti requires registration. That bothers a lot of people. So you have to be okay with required registration. I don't think that's been removed yet. So that's still, to me, kind of a little bit of a problem that they have on these. Why do they do it? Also, from a PoE standpoint, that's not a lot of milliamps. Like, I don't think that's going to be a lot to run all the devices that are on PoE. I don't know how that's going to work. So now this is a genuine fear. They haven't refreshed the cloud key, but they also, maybe the demand isn't as high because people self-host a controller like us. And obviously, if Ubiquiti stopped offering the self-hosting of the controller, if they decided to discontinue that, I don't see it happening, but they would stop their market of people like me who make up a massive amount of sales of their product. we were joking around the other day at just how much product we move and how many units we have to order all the time. And not just me. I just got back from a big event in Chicago, and there's other vendors doing the same thing. They've, went all in, so to speak, on Ubiquiti. And we're talking like we're trying to buy 200 or 300 access points at a time. Like we are moving cumulatively the middle market managed service provider community, Ubiquiti's availability. This is why, there's constantly out of stock. We're buying it up as fast as we can, but we're also doing it and selling it as a replacement for expensive things like Meraki or Cisco, who have recurring license fees, or insert name of lots of other brands that have real expensive fees. This is where UniFi is, as long as they keep it up. But the moment they don't, the moment they change that and they stop offering it, well, if I'm going to pay a cloud provider, I may as well get the guys that have support. It'll, you know what I mean? If I have to buy that, by the way, you can't scale. The installations we do can't scale on these small devices. I can't hook up 200, 300 access points to it. I don't know about this one specifically. We don't have all the specs, but you can't do that on a Dream Machine. It'll choke. You can't do it on a Cloud Key. It'll choke. So for the large installations, and by the way, companies like Cisco are working on new products, allegedly. I'm going to find out about this more later. But I think Cisco's working on some stuff that doesn't have the same licensing fees, which is great. This is where Ubiquiti is really being disruptive, because the zero licensing Ubiquiti is hard to compete with for companies that build their revenue models on license fees. And this is a challenge right here. Cisco access points are 12 months out. We're trying to replace our fleet of 450. But nonetheless, packing it all into one box, if you make this box, and this is something really nice, and if it works this way, if they do a good job of it, where I can grab a backup file and I can have another one on the shelf. So I deploy these at these small offices, and I can have a box on the shelf where I can just push a backup file, push backup restore, replace. Awesome. That's great. That way, if there's an incident, it's a single point of failure. But then again, it's a single device, and I only have to stock one device. But then again, it limits the diversity, because I do have different firewalls we keep in stock at my office in case a client has a failure. We have a lot of PFSense firewalls in stock in case the client has a failure. If one of those firewalls fail, I can grab their last backup that we maintain, and we can load it to that model firewall and just drop it in. So it is a single point of failure to some extent, but I mean, it's not really much more than a firewall plus controller. The downside is we manage a lot of our networks, a lot of our client networks in our controller. This means I have to connect it to the cloud or connect it back to their system each time I got to log in. That's got its good and bad as well. So in the pro server market, they are the main manufacturer of low-cost, good-quality AIPs, otherwise who is available. This is, and you can say pro server market, but you can also say in the mid-markets. And I don't know, what do you consider a company where we're deploying 300 of them at? I mean, someone said that's not the enterprise market. It has to be, what's the number? And by the way, I posed this in a vendor group once, of specifically vendors of defining the SMB versus enterprise. And not everybody had the same definition. Some people, only companies in the Fortune 1000 are in the enterprise market. End of story. Like one person started with that definition, but then it went all out of control of who even gets to be in the Fortune 1000 list by Forbes and what you define as enterprise. So it becomes a really fuzzy, what is an enterprise versus a consumer market? Either way, I'm going to just define it in numbers of, I need a controller that can handle more than 300 devices, because those are some of the installs. Not all of them, obviously. A majority of installs are going to be smaller. The majority of people don't buy 300 access points. But who else is competing in that space like that in a really realistic way? I mean, you've got Aruba, and I don't remember, but I have to look this up. Someone told me that Aruba has now changed to 25 devices per account before they charge for the cloud. I have not verified that, but I've had numerous messages about it. And here's one of the problems. Some of that stuff's not always easy to verify. I didn't Google this one. Maybe it is. I just seen these comments. So, Aruba instant on X devices. You can always Google these things, right? Yes. So hold on. Uh, somewhere in here. Let me find it and I'll share this one instead. Yep. So let me switch to stop sharing and then we'll switch over to the other one. Why did my button go? I used to be able to switch tabs. Why'd they eliminate that? That would be my life easier. Share screen, Chrome tab, Aruba. There we go. A single site can include supporting up to 8 wireless SIDs, but 25 devices, total mix of AP and switches. These are some challenges because once you go here, what's next? Where you're buying it again. And these limitations are all these companies put in there. So they become a hard sell because you say Aruba Incident doesn't have licensing fees, but they kind of do. They do, but once you reach a certain limit. So it's just interesting how all these companies do this, and it's very problematic. So when you say who's the replacement, I don't know. Everyone, UniFi is it's really scary because we have a single company that is doing it without license fees. I mean, someone's going to say, what about Trend? Really? Trend doesn't do the best support for their products, like in longevity, security updates. I don't know that Trend is the most serious player in that market. And I don't know if I trust them to be there. So I don't know. Finishing to cable this thing up, typically I put patch panels in. This looks like you can connect directly. Well, yeah, they're showing a direct connection, but this is another point that Cody makes on here. And this is, I wanted to get into the form factor of it doesn't make sense from a form factor standpoint if you're looking to be making a really clean form factor. So let's go back to sharing that tab. Yeah, now I have to stop. I should have hooked up my other, turned on my studio computer where I just press buttons to switch things. Share screen, Chrome tab. But so, your typical rack, and you want to have things in patch panels and things like that. Putting it in a non-patch panel way, how do I make that look pretty? It looks pretty in this graphics that is all drawn up. But at some point, all those wires go somewhere. Look at all these wires that have to go somewhere. Do I just poke a big hole in the wall? Where do I mount all these wires to? How do I patch all these wires? That doesn't. And by the way, is the goal to make this thing pretty and accessible? By the way, I was at a conference where we talked about how you should secure your server room. The impression I get is you're trying to put this out in the open. It looks cool. It's pretty enough to hang out in your lobby. Do you want that in your lobby? Like, I'm just asking, where someone could just reach over and plug into ports. Hopefully you disabled them. But they made it pretty and have Wi-Fi, but generally I think of this going in the closet and not necessarily closets. Closets aren't the best way to have Wi-Fi because where do we want the Wi-Fi? Closest to where the people are using it. So that's why we put it in ceilings above people's heads. And yes, it's PoE, but it's also pushing Wi-Fi out of the closet. We don't really need Wi-Fi in the closet. It's cool. I mean, I can imagine it's nice having Wi-Fi in the closet, but generally, where is that closet in a small business? It's at the back of the building. Preferably, I mean, maybe it's in the front, but generally speaking, you take your typical standard strip mall building where these small offices might be, where the insurance companies or travel companies and small 4-person law office might be. And you're talking about, all right, this is in the back. That's where the demarcation is. That's where it comes in. This is in the back. And they're like, hey, it's got built-in Wi-Fi. Yeah, but all the people are in front where the customers come in. So the form factor is not easy. I don't think it really fits the need. Yeah, $70.99 for the non-pro model. So I don't get it. 2026, Lawrence System starts producing firewalls, APs, and security cameras. 16 wires, all different colors, all over the place. Well, that's what everything looks like right now. Oh, yeah. Someone will say that you need it. So, yeah. Patch panel, each rack, tie each number here, usually SFE link. My big client has a Cisco. Yeah. I never use Nortel stuff, so I don't have an opinion on it. Yeah. Grayson here. I would never have that dream wall exposed in your lobby. Right. Is Tom Cruise in the closet? I don't know. They look like a PBX fixed to the wall. Yeah. Looks like a very small dream wall. Yeah. It's interesting. At that price point, it's going to be underpowered. Yeah, we don't have the specs on it and things like that. And as I started out in the beginning, it's going to have all the software limitations. There's going to be where a bunch of the problems on there. So I don't know. Looks like it'll work well in my house. Now, that's the thing. I think so. I think it's a great, for the basic home user stuff. I mean, that's not my house. That's a really nice house if you live in a house like that. So they're positioning this, in my opinion, that's not a house. Maybe it is. If you that's the house of someone with some money. I'm gonna throw that out there, a nice large house like this. And maybe that is a target audience, but that looks more like they're implying it's for the business. So yeah. I don't use Next DNS, so I have no opinion on it. So nonetheless, it's I don't know. I'm kind of mixed. Like, I don't hate the product or anything, but I there's a couple of questions I have. There's a reason we like rack mounts for things. There's a reason patch panels are in rack mounts. It's an industry standard, just like they said in the very beginning of the video. 19-inch rack mount stuff's been around for a minute. Once you have a lot of people, and it is hard to get anybody to agree on anything. And think about it, the rack mount standard's been long enough around that I can find all kinds of things that fit into it conveniently. And even when you get fiber delivered to a lot of businesses, a lot of the delivery equipment for businesses, not all of it, but a lot of it comes in a rack mount. Or if it doesn't come in a rack mount, I can throw a tray that is a rack mount to set the different ISP devices on to do the connectivity. And then I still patch panel things in a rack mount because it looks nice and it's clean. How does this even, you put this next to your rack and just pull the wires up and around it? Well, I still have a rack mount. So making just a bigger rack mount makes more sense than changing the form factors. So that's how I feel about it. The one in the video is the Pro. The non-Pro only has a 1.6-inch screen. Yeah, they have both devices in there. I'll wait. I mean, I'll review it. I'll take a look at it. I'm not, like I said, I'm not hating on it. I just want to make sure people understand the use cases. Let's see. Did you test AdGuard DNS beta for home? Nope, I don't use AdGuard, so I don't know. I don't have an interest in using those. I use PF Blocker. I've done videos on PF Blocker, and I use uBlock Origin. Is this what it's called? uBlock Origin? Hold on. Yeah, uBlock Origin. So that's hello from the bearded IT dad. This is another good point. Now, this is where the people who would own a house that looks like what this business is in there, you know what they often have? An AV rack. So I've been into enough large houses to know that there's an adjacent AV rack with all of their equipment that they have in there. So yes, there's a lot of that on there. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the UniFi Dream Wall. I may do another video just diving into UniFi. I am doing a getting started with UniFi, and I'll give you guys a little hint. Those of you here, and I haven't posted this publicly, but I'll drop a hint. Me and David Boomball recorded a video we're going to be working on talking about UniFi. So keep an eye on David Boomball's channel. You also, by the way, I've done a video with David talking about pfSense. So nonetheless, it's easy enough to find. So hopefully it gives you a little more to talk about. Let's see. I'm doing an interview for a position at MSP after getting my associates. Any tips or someone, just a hobby essential skills and a few certs? You usually are going to start at the help desk. When you're working any job, seriously, just like go in, all in. Hold on. It's still raining out, so I didn't want to take it today. All right. My friend was wanting to pick me up for the motorcycle. What do we got here? All right. Sorry about the distraction. I had someone I was going to drop off my motorcycle, but I decided to do a live stream instead. But back to your question here: interviewing position at MSP or just give me associates. When you get there, just absorb all the knowledge, start learning, ask all the questions. If you're probably going to start out the bottom, but always follow up, learn how the higher level techs solve the problem you couldn't. That is your way to keep progressing up. Do what you do at the beginning, but always ask that question. Hey, can I learn a little more from the other people? How did you solve the problem I couldn't solve? How do I get to be the person that solves the problem? Because, as the name may imply, the higher level techs that can solve more problems kind of climb up the ladder. So those are certainly advices on there. How much it weighs? I'm going to guess it's generally pretty light. I don't think there's much weight to the UniFi wall. I've been debating if I switch to TrueNAS. It's really important for me to make that switch. I love TrueNAS. I'm biased because I love TrueNAS. I like ZFS. I do videos on ZFS. I love the integrity that ZFS is. I even made shirts that says ZFS is a cult with integrity. So my opinion is always going to be ZFS. I'm unclear on that question there. Morning, Tom. It is afternoon for me, but morning for you. Yep. U-Block Origin is last who didn't got sold. Yeah, that's the one that didn't get sold. As far as I know. David is cool people. You are not wrong about that. He is super cool. Matter of fact, we always joke. We always joke when we talk because what we record and then we end up going over time. We stop recording because we just start talking. We have a lot in common. So we just end up having a great tech conversation about all kinds of things. David's just awesome for that. Me and him, like after we were done recording, I think we talked for almost another hour just talking about things. You're right. David's great. I saw or heard UniFi will no longer require single sign-on. How would that affect older equipment that hasn't been updated before purchase? I don't know. You'll probably have to single sign-on, update it, and then undo it. I don't know how they're going to handle that. I don't know why they chose to force people to sign on. Like, that didn't make any sense to me. Tom, do you prefer TrueNAS or Synology? The answer is yes. I like TrueNAS and Synology, and it comes down to what's your use case. I like Synology Surveillance Station. It's amazing. I like Synology's active backup program. It's amazing. I like TrueNAS for where all the videos I edit are. I like TrueNAS for my storage target for high performance VMs. They're both good products. You just have to weigh out all your use cases. I like both. I have both, but both may not be in your budget. You just have to weigh out all the use cases and figure out, make a box. And I probably need to make a new video because I think it was 2020 when I did the comparison before. There's more to compare now because you have TrueNAS Core, TrueNAS Scale, and Synology, but it still is going to come back to your use case. Now, here's a real general thing. TrueNAS is an amazing open source product. Synology is not. I'm a big open source advocate, but I can't find a good open source NVR software, and I don't know a good open source program that does backup, active backup. In the way that Synology does, both active backup for G Suite, active backup for Office 365, active backup for desktop computers. I can't name open source software that works as well. So there's not a program I can load. I can buy all kinds of other software, but there's not a program that natively comes with or that I can easily load that's going to work as nice for my NVR and my backups as Synology. So Synology is a great choice for those use cases. For the performance and integrity I need with a library of 8 years of making YouTube videos and wanting to keep all the content, all the unedited content, and also the projects and edited content along with everything else, I trust ZFS for all of that. So ZFS is my storage pool for those things. Plus, we have a very large ZFS storage pool for our storage targets for VM storage. So Yes, that's the long answer of liking both of those products. We've been using UniFi for a while, just started with their switches. We have always had the self-hosted controller. Would you recommend staying on the self-hosted controller? We're still using a self-hosted controller. We're too big not to. We have too many. Like we have a controller for our managed service businesses, and I think there's 60 companies in there right now. So it's not easy to switch. There's not a device I could switch to besides self-hosting it. So, what do you think about PF plus ZFS boot environments coming soon? I like it. So that's pretty cool. Sorry, it wasn't clear that I'm currently running FreeNAS. Should I make the switch to TrueNAS or is it? I don't think FreeNAS is supported anymore, depending on what version. I don't know. I don't know when end of life on what version you're using, so I don't know what the end of life is. So that's yeah, I don't know what version. Look at the end of life on yours because there's no more updates for some of the old versions, so you probably have to move to the new version. If you use Synology for MVR, do you secure the MVR from the internet? Yes, I do. I don't bother opening it to the internet. I've actually commented before that when it comes to the Synology MVR, I use WireGuard on my phone. So when I'm not here, WireGuard, and then I can access my Synology. I don't have to worry about opening any ports, and makes my life a little bit better or a little bit safer, maybe. Yeah. So that's Did you ask the same question twice, or is it a different person? I'm trying to figure out who else asked this, but yeah. Thoughts on next boot environment features in PFSense? Yeah, the PFSense and ZFS boot environment features are cool. I'll do videos on some of that upcoming soon as a separate one, dive into details. What are my thoughts on Restic? I don't know what Restic is, so I have no thoughts on it. No thoughts on Restic. Favorite way to cool racks. So I don't really have this problem per se. We don't have any that are overheating. We've got them in areas where we've got proper ventilation. But when you don't, commercially we install split units. Well, we don't install them. We make sure we contact a HVAC company and we put split units in or some type of ventilation system. That if you can modify the existing HVAC system, awesome. If you can't, split units are the way to go. There's no easy solution to that. Jeff from Craft Computing has done a few videos on the topic. He has some special rack coolers to help circulate within the rack itself. So there are tools to do that generally, but in Jeff's use case is because it's in his garage, so he's got that problem. For me though, most of it, because we're doing businesses the majority of the time, it's a non-issue, other than we just install split unit. Like this is the recommendation. Here's the guidelines. This is what needs to be done. So I've looked at it. It was very incomplete. So Shinobi, NVR, SHI. It looked cool. It's been a minute since I used it. Are they still updating it? I don't know. But nonetheless, I think it's neat. Like the concept is cool. Let me the website is here. But last time I looked at it, it just felt very incomplete. It wasn't something that I would ever sell commercially or install commercially, and it didn't have the same features as some of them at the time. It's been a good year or so since I looked at it, maybe 2 years, but it wasn't. It was a cool project. Zone Minder is definitely not there. Zone Minder definitely not. But that's also been a few years since I looked at it. So yeah, Jeff's AC rack takes up like 8U. It's not small. You're not wrong. It is not an easy solution. So that's cool that Shinobi has a decent API, but it's usually not the API. I need to know, will it support different cameras? How hard is it to configure? Is it reliable? Does it survive updates without breaking everything? Synology for the most part is extremely reliable and extremely easy to use and easy to get notifications out. So yeah. Can you do a video on WireGuard to the MVR? I don't do WireGuard to the MVR. So I don't really understand that use case. Usually, not always. I mean, generally speaking, you're going to put WireGuard on your firewall. And when you don't have a VPN on the firewall, because this comes up every now and then, you have to do extra routings and push routes to be able to make some things work. So it's not always the best or easiest solution to do it. That's why we like integrating it into the firewall. It also generally, in the case of pfSense anyways, makes it easier to manage. So I don't know how or why I would connect WireGuard to the MVR. Even my own example, I have a WireGuard running on pfSense, and then I have behind my pfSense firewall my Synology NVR. So I connect to WireGuard, I can connect to my Synology NVR, I can view all my cameras and set all my settings. ZoneMiner seems to have lots of Python scripts. Now they get them with lots of collections of Python scripts, was made containerizing and hosting it kind of a pain. And that was the thing. I remember in other people have commented, so I haven't really come back to it. Just spending a lot of time at the command line and going through and trying to configure some of the cameras was tricky. I don't remember it being easy at all. And that made it where I said, well, it's neat. And I did a video before, and unfortunately it's now since an abandoned project. I think it's called let me find the name of it. Been a while since I did the video, and I'm not really using the project's been abandoned, unfortunately. Motion iOS. So I've done videos on this before, but it's an abandoned project, by the way. When was this last update? Right here, 3 months ago. Motion iOS, the Lake solution. Due to personal reasons, I can no longer be actively involved in this project. So there's not much I can do about that one. So yeah, the bottom of the README, right there. I didn't scroll down enough. We run Shinobi in a production environment and every update breaks. Yeah, that's exciting. I love your honesty. Thank you very much. I've heard that from other people. But yes, it's yeah, there's a lot of fun projects to play with, but I don't know that there's any that are wonderful. You know what I mean? Outside, this is one of the reasons like we run Synology. It's reliable, it works, it has advanced. I did a video earlier this year on advanced object detection with Synology. It's all built in and works well. And there'll be someone going, but Tom, I wrote all these Python scripts that are able to do it this way. And I'm like, cool, that's not really a production, it's a hobby. So and I need something, by the way, I'm technical. My wife is not technical. She just wants to be able to see who's on the cameras and have a notification sent to her if there's a car in the driveway or a person walking up our driveway and have a picture sent to her phone. That's a feature that works really well in Synology, and I don't know how well that works in some of the other ones. So I mentioned a hot sauce at the beginning. The Steve-O's it's the Steve-O's Butthole Destroyer. That was the name of it. So that was the hot sauce that's in the thumbnail. What's the point of NVR? The NVR is a recorder. That's where all the cameras record to. Morning from the land down under. So hello, Alexi. Have you been able to do facial recognition? The ones I have they do human detection, but not face recognition. It's not something I really mess with. There's a Synology's working on some of their, let me find it. Synology station facial recognition. This is their VMS. And these are their new, where's it at? They have a different model for these. They're called the Synology Deep Learning NVRs. So this is the ones that have that in there. Right now, the way it works, Synology relies on the camera when you're not using these. The camera has to say there's an advanced motion detection event, and that sends to the camera. This is what I did my video on, was showing how that works. But with the Synology new NVRs are coming out with, they have the ability to do it in the NVR. And it's kind of interesting because that's where sometimes people get a little confused going, well, can I do it with the Synology? I'm like, no, you have to have a Synology that supports the advanced motion detection, but it picks that data coming out of the camera. So yeah. Vlog Thursday on Friday, hard to process. You're right. But so that's where some of the challenges are. You don't want to rely on your camera for AI events. Sure. I bought the Amcrest. They have a face recognition. Haven't hooked it up yet. Wasn't sure if there's a how Synology handled it. The way Synology handles it, and hold on, let me switch to another tab. We'll log into it and figure this out. So you got to go here, here, here. I gotta make sure I'm logged in. That's all. So go back here, add it back to the stream. There's my cameras, and you have different type of event, advanced motion event. So for example, it would have been right here. This one says advanced motion because watch, my wife will be driving out. So it detects the car driving out of the garage. That's the advanced motion. It's seen a vehicle. So the advanced motion detection vehicle. And I have in my video how to get the interaction set up. So that's different than a motion detection because it's seen a car. By the way, cameras work really well on this. I mean, you can see it's just so crappy and rainy. You can see like the raindrops. But this is one of those, Amcrest cameras. But that's the thing with Synology is, having all those features in the camera. You don't want to rely on the camera. Well, then you have to get a more advanced Synology to be able to do it. Oh, there's my other one. Apparently, there's a package on my door. So I don't leave my basement too often. So I look and see a package, and I'm like, my wife will see it when she gets home. I don't want to leave. I don't want to go outside. I become that lazy occasionally. Like I'm just gonna stay down here in the basement where the studio is. uh so all right. Let's see. I'm asking what the purpose of having an enormous amount of video footage is. To have an archive to go back and see what happened. I've currently got a QNAP as my MVR, but want to convert it to a TrueNAS. Looking forward to MVR that can, yeah. If you have a QNAP for an MVR, QNAP had a big full 9.8 security vulnerability found in their QVR software. So hopefully you have one that's got an update and patched. Talk about the Quick protocol. What about it? I've done a video on Quick. I did it a while ago. I don't know what you want to know about Quick. The white factor is a major reason why I stopped building all my own stuff. Ease of use, user is something we all need to remember. Yeah, I mean, there's hobby stuff, and then there's what interacts with the user. So if you're building something for you, that's a different use case than building something that the user has to interact with. Hello from Honduras. What have I missed? A lot, but you can scroll back. What do you think of the Edge Max in 2022? PF Sense all the way. Yeah, I'm not a big Edge person. I don't care for them much. We never really deploy them, so I don't really use much of them. I think Ubiquiti is dumping Edge Max doesn't fit the product. Yeah, I don't know. Is Quick mature enough? Yeah, Quick has been around for a while. Hey, look, my wife's coming home. So Quick has been around for a while. They're not new. Here we can even there's my wife getting out of the car. I wonder if she knows I'm live streaming her getting out of the car. Whoops. I didn't mean to click it. I accidentally zoomed in. Let me zoom back out. There we go. I forget that when you scroll the wheel, it zooms things in and out. She's gassing up the car now. All right. Funny. Is there a mobile app for Synology to view cameras? Yes, it works great. The mobile app's really nice. I like it. It's actually really good. That's a lot of carpets. Yeah, those are I usually have those so you get the water off your feet and things like that when you get in and out of the car. I like to mess with people watching the camera. Yeah. It does not do people recognition, so it doesn't recognize your face. But it does, obviously recognize vehicles, which is good enough. There shouldn't be anyone driving a vehicle into my garage, but me or my wife. Yeah, there's a whole thing you can do with TensorFlow for some of the recognition. So you could pipe it in and do all kinds of fancy things, extend the functionality with it. Fun things you can do. But nonetheless, close that. Oops, no, I didn't want to close it. Close this now. Don't save my changes. Stop sharing that. Let's see. Synology AFP, that's last week's news. That's not even this week's news. And the AFP vulnerability is specifically, so I mentioned this actually in my last live stream. You have TrueNAS, really any NAS built with Samba, any NAS that's not running Microsoft. So they're all built with Samba. The flaw was in the Samba AFP handling. So Samba SMB, the whole Samba thing, handles not just Windows file shares, but handles AFP. There was a flaw in the AFP. TrueNAS fixed it first, in terms of watching all the NAS companies out there. First you had TrueNAS, then Synology, and I don't think QNAP's fixed it yet. So maybe one day. But yeah, QNAP is we'll pull it up real quick because this was in, talking about MVRs. And here's the problem with some of these places is it's all about how fast. We know there's flaws in lots of software, but one of the problem QNAP, I think QNAP is nice people. I actually met them I met people from there, representatives, over the weekend, but I think they just don't have the team together to stay on top of things. Like the vulnerabilities they find, they take a long time to patch. So yeah. Critical remote code execution. They did not sanitize the inputs. That's what this is from. So the QVR software has and this is, I think, a 9.8. Does it say? So I looked it up earlier. It's in the nines. It's a high one. But you can read this. I tweeted this, so you can look at my Twitter and see this. Oh yeah, I could have done that if she was sitting there. I could remotely honk the car while she was standing in there. That would have been funny. There are more than enough surveillance devices in my life sending information. Who knows where already? Motion detection, as far as I know, would go in my house. So that's one of the things like Synology. You're talking about a device that is on-prem that I control. So that's another thing. I've never heard anything good about QNAP security. Their security is hot garbage. They constantly are in the news for being behind on a flaw. And the AFP flaw is not their fault. They're just building on open source things like SMB. what is their fault is how fast they patch it. Like TrueNAS was affected by it. TrueNAS didn't write Samba. TrueNAS incorporated Samba. That means TrueNAS has to maintain a list of all the packages, security updates for them, and then do releases accordingly. And they do. This is how any of these companies work. And to see that QNAP, at the time when I tweeted it, I even looked to see if QNAP has a patch now, but it was weeks and weeks later, and QNAP still hadn't patched it. And they're just really slow to get updates. I'm surely going to go back and watch for repetition. In the meantime, continue watching a live stream now. Thank you a lot. I don't know about the You're a Genius thing. I just play one on YouTube. I'm not really that smart. I just read a lot. That's because when people ask me, hey, what other tech YouTubers you watch? I'm like, no, I'm not watching some other tech person and regurgitating information here. I spend most of my time like reading manuals or white papers for the knowledge. So that's why I cite my sources all the time of where I got the information from. Which camera to use? The Synology NVR support all kinds of cameras. Yes, look at my recent Synology video I did. I break down links to all the cameras, all the models, everything that they have within there. So, yes. Sama supports AFP. Make sure I'm right on this. Pull this up, get it in the right stupid tab. Samba patch is critical that remote convoluted root. The public, blah, 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 blah. 9 out of 9. That's this one here. Net A talk. Because the problem is in VFS Fruit. VFS Fruit, the fruit company part of Samba. So yeah. I think that sounds right. So I think I'm reading that right? So I thought that's what ran the AFP and Net A talk. Aren't those part of the Samba? So someone correct me if I'm wrong about that not being part of Samba. I list the cameras in my Synology video. I'm happy with the cameras that I listed in Synology video. I don't remember the model numbers. That's why I put them in a video. Glad it wasn't me mixed up. Yes, I put it in there. Do you run Synology NVR in a Docker, or is it on the unit for the NVR, not file storage? It is running on Synology. It is through the Synology surveillance station installer. How come your employees stopped coming on the vlog Thursday? None of them want to. Really, that's what it is. None of them want to be on camera. None of them want to. They don't. Sometimes they participate in the chat, but most of the time they're busy working. And so, yeah. Try and install pfSense on the Sophos Rev 3. Some weird behavior. Sometimes the interface works. Sometimes it doesn't work at all. Yeah, I don't. If it's flaky, look at other hardware. Do you ever use Hikvision or Dahoo cameras, NVRs? I never use their NVRs, so I don't know much about them. Talking about open source, are you interested in show next video about Open Media Vault, or is it a topic? I don't have an interest in it. I think Jay's done some videos on it, but I don't use it. So I don't think it's a bad product. I just don't have a use case for it. Like there's nothing about it that there's nothing about Open Media Vault that makes you want to use it. SMB is server message block, so Samba uses SMB, not AFP. I thought Samba handled the AFP as well. I thought it was the same. Let me find it. Hold on. AFP. pull up the vulnerability more specifically. See, as far as am I reading it wrong? I don't ever touch Apple stuff, by the way. Samba VFS fruit module extended attributes provide compatible with SMB clients and interoperable with NetAtalk 3 AFP file server. That's where the flaw is. It's in Samba. This is a Samba flaw. It's related to the way it handles it. So I know the difference between SMP and AFB, but I'm telling you, it's unless I'm reading it wrong, it's built. Samba is the service that provides both, and the function within Samba that provides the AFP side has the flaw. I don't know that you can run Synology in Docker. I could be wrong. I'm not aware of a way to do it. Is the Synology unit file storage and MVR or just MVR alone? Both. Synology does both. So, I thought AFP is combined with Apple. I don't know. I'm reading the CVE. I just know to patch it, but I'm also not as worried because I'm not using it anywhere. We don't have AFP turned on for any clients at all. We do not have Mac clients in general. We have a few people that they're home users that have a couple of them. Like the owner of the business owns an Apple at home type thing. Like we interact very lightly with any type of Mac. Like all the business units we do are always going to be PC. We don't do Mac support. So yeah, I don't know. I know one, I don't use it. I know two, when there's a big CVE and there's a potential to exploit it, it's just better to patch. So yeah, we use Graylog for external logging. That's the other one I've heard. I've never used this, but I've heard people mention it. The Expanology to try out Synology. The thing is, I don't know that you can run the Synology NVR software in there. I don't know. Someone said you could. Someone said you couldn't. I've never used it and don't plan to, so I don't know. I've never used AFP in 25 years of doing this stuff. Me either. It's not something I interact with. As a matter of fact, we get calls from people. They're like, hey, we are a fully Mac place. Can you support us, Tom? And I'm like, no, I don't do that. So because I don't do any of that. I don't think I do. So that's probably what I agree with you, Max. I think people are complaining Samba, the software, and the service SMB, because they are different. Samba provides SMB. Samba is the software project name. So hopefully that someone brought this up last time too, that AFP has deprecated all modern Macs use Samba. Makes sense. Xpanology is very finicky. NVR may run if set up correctly, but problems until next update. Yeah. You can't use software. It requires activation and contacting. Now, this is the other thing too. So the problem, Synology Surveillance Station, which I've got more than one video on it, they do require a license. It's a perpetual license. It's a one-time license, but there's a license fee and the activation context Synology. So I doubt that things like Expanology and modified versions of it are going to work. They seems unlikely. Yeah. Do you use Splunk or something else? We use Graylog for logging. We use for monitoring our stuff. We use Zabbix. Turn off services that aren't used. Oh, I always do that. Principles of least privilege. Apply to services. Is there a reason to have that service on? This is a security thing. No reason to have it on. Great. Don't have it on. Just go from there. Mac users have to learn if they put a lot of money to Mac, then you also have to learn how it works. I don't know about that. Mac people are Mac people. They're their own best customers. Not many people seem, in my experience anyway, it's not 100%. Like the people who've been using Mac just keep using Mac. The people who once in a while I've seen people wander from PC to Mac, but it's not like a mass exodus. It's like the one-offs. And a lot of developers like them, for example, and a lot of the developers going, the platform doesn't really matter to me as much. And Mac has really pretty hardware and nice keyboards. And so I know a lot of developers like it, and the tools they use aren't dependent on Windows. They work fine in Mac. So I do see a lot of developers that have migrated over, but a lot of home and general users, maybe not too many though. Technology can be set up with active unique serial numbers. Like I said, this is all, and I don't plan to dive into the Technology that much. It's novel, but it's not something I have a strong interest in. We're looking most of the time, we're deploying a lot of these. I mean, there's always, I love Home Lab, but there comes a point where I have to figure out what I have time for. And I don't have time for experimenting with that. So nonetheless, it's pretty cool. There's not really a video to do because there's no changing. I have a backup restore video on pfSense. That's the video how you do it. It's a backup restore. You back up your configuration, you reload pfSense, you restore your configuration. That's it. That's the video. So my backup restore video on how to backup restore pfSense could also be used as a how to switch to ZFS. Generally can use a PC user to Mac, but teaching Mac to PC is like pulling teeth. Yeah, it is hard to go the other way. That is true. That is true. So that's the thing. If you have 10 clients to manage, Zabbix is still useful. How would you handle monitoring an MSP? I wouldn't use Zabbix for an MSP. I don't think it's reasonable. It doesn't have all the MSP functions. It gives you limited visibility into anything Windows. So unless you're managing non-Windows clients, it's not real. It's not the ideal situation to do. But we manage our Linux infrastructure with it. We manage our infrastructure with it and things we want to monitor, but we don't manage client stuff with it. So I pull up like our forums. I should pull up. Let me find here. Like Zabbix makes pretty charts for my forums. I could see CPU utilization, swap usage, processes running, things like that. It'll let me know if my forums are down. I can look at it over time. Maybe we'll go the last year. Trends with the forums and things like that. I mean, I can get some data out of it because we have some, longer term data coming out of the forums or some of the other things we monitor in here. But yeah, Zabbix doesn't give you, if you watch my video I did on Ninja RMM does all the things we wanted to do, but the Zabbix's of the world do not do what that runs. So let's see here. Is Mac popular in the US? Probably more so than elsewhere because of their price. I don't know how popular they are in Europe, but I know they're generally expensive. I don't use Cacti, so I don't know. We still like Ninja One. We don't plan on changing. It works really well. We've built a lot, we've built a lot into it. It works pretty well. Zabbix can absolutely monitor Windows environments. So I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying it's not near as full featured as like Ninja One RMM. They're not an apples to apples comparison. I didn't say you can't monitor with it. I said you can't monitor and do all the RMM functionality, managing all the updates, managing package updates for software, managing all the PowerShell scripts we run, building levels of automation, remote administration through, like, we have Splashtop connected to allow us to quickly jump into a server, have all the alerting notifications for certain things that maybe we build scripts for, have all the automated backups all in one place to it. That's what Ninja One does for us. That is far beyond what Zabbix can do. So Zabbix isn't bad. Are you taking me out to dinner? Should I take this person out to dinner? What do you think? Should I take my wife out to dinner? I don't have a way to set a poll up in here. Yes, true. Zabbix isn't our. That's all I'm saying. Is Zabbix is an RMM tool. It has a place. It's a great monitoring tool. So it's definitely that. Yes, you should. We got a no here. In the newest update, cloud, they're offering local setup only. Oh, they're finally doing it. Okay. They're finally offering local registration, which they used to do. So, yeah. Yes. My wife is currently 4th in sales. She is a financial advisor. She's number 1 to me because she's my financial advisor. But if you are in one of the I don't know, 16 states or so my wife is licensed in, she can do money things and financial advise things and help you shuffle cash. um Dinner, but she should drive the. Oh yeah, she prefers to drive. What is she in the mood for? I don't know. We should celebrate. We'll go with that. Do I have a choice? Oh, I always have a choice. I'm not super hungry right now. Yeah. Well, they knew you took the Tesla because we live streamed you getting home in the Tesla. My wife is also federally licensed. She has state licenses and federal license. She has way more certification than me. By the way, substantially more certifications. So I think that's my wife's way. It's yes. Time to wrap it up. She is licensed in 13 states and she wants sushi. Is there a reason she prefers to drive? Oh, many. I could be possibly quite the aggressive driver. So I was going to wind it down about 5:00 anyways. So it's about 5:00. The last thing I will mention, and you can follow me on LinkedIn for this, but I will be going to some more events. So over the weekend, I was at Channel SMB Pro Chicago. That was a fun event. I got to meet lots of people, some of you that watched this live stream. So I met just a lot of great people interaction. I plan to go to a few more events. I'll be publishing on LinkedIn. If you want to connect me on LinkedIn, go in the description below. If you want to check out what we're doing on the other channel, we've been posting a lot more business videos. So those are coming. So we have more videos. Tom's driving sucks. So we do have more business videos on the Business Technicalities channel, but connect with me on LinkedIn. You can see I post where I'm going. I don't think I posted much about the SMB Chicago stuff because it was a little bit shorter notice. But yeah, I will definitely if I go to some of the bigger events, but feel free to reach out, connect with me for any of those. I like seeing people in person, so that's been kind of fun. Yeah. So on Thursday, Marcus hurries me along, and on a Friday, it's Kathleen. You are correct. It is my wife who does it. No hot sauce unless it's something he owns. Yeah. The UniFi doorbell does require internet cloud key for everything. You need the cloud key or some type of UniFi NVR for it to work at all. End of story. It does not work independently. Sorry. So same on this side of the pond. I did get an invite. Someone told me I should go to a UK tech event. So I was actually talking to a person that they fly out every year to I don't remember what it was called because I've already forgotten because I wasn't planning on going. But yeah, they fly out to a UK tech event, which I thought was kind of cool. So if I do go to a UK tech event, I will be dragging my wife with me because she wants to go to the UK as well. I will go to a tech event and nerd out. She will do whatever it is people do over there, tourist wise. So I think that's how that works. But yeah, the me. Oh, there we go. Is he sleeping? Hold on, I was gonna share one last picture. Which one am I sharing? There we go. We'll leave you with this picture. This will be the last thing we do here. So this was about 1:30 a.m. last night because I didn't get back to Chicago till 3 a.m. We drove because Detroit to Chicago is only about 4 hours, but we stayed late. But yeah, but he was nodding off in the car, so I left Brett in the car. So, all right, I'll leave everyone with that. It is time to wander off and see everyone. Yeah, look at that ray tracing. So hit me up on the socials, follow me on Twitter, connect me on LinkedIn, watch the other channel, Business Technicalities, for the business content. We're posting more. I'll be talking more about that soon. And absolutely loved having everyone. Like, subscribe, smash the like button, and see you next time. Oh, yeah, this, and yes, for anyone wondering, that is a wrap. This is not a stock Tesla color. Not that any, that question does come up a lot, but it does look really cool. So do all the little Tesla lights and everything else. It's shiny. But my wife will be driving a car. I'll be a passenger. Everyone, thank you very much. Take care.